Next on AM 1480 WLEA, The Amy McManus Show.
Welcome to the Amy McManus Show on AM 1480 WLEA. Reminder, you can listen to us on the internet, www.wlea.net. Brian O'Neill, I promise I will not have any microphone blunders or any... There will be no F-bombs thrown within the vicinity of the mic, just so you know.
Okay, I wasn't expecting any, but I think
I
know what you're referring to.
Well, going to take a total different direction with this show than the previous. As we all know, healthcare did pass, so I will be touching on that a little bit today. Other than that, more locally, as we've heard, some of the leaders in our community in Steuben County, here in the 29th Congressional District, are saying that we may not have that special election after all. The unofficial word reaching various news sources in Hornell is that they're concerned about the cost of holding a special election in the next month or two. Supposedly would be in excess of $1 million. But, you know, conservatives, Republicans, even some independents are thinking that that may be an excuse, that there may be some Democratic pressure on Governor David Patterson to hold off until November, which would be very convenient, of course, for those who have been against this more conservative rural area of the 29th District. So we shall see if the powers that be say, hey, you know what, you have to wait till November, or perhaps we need to make some calls, make some emails, and make our voices heard, that is completely unfair. Tom Reed did say that it's wrong for the people of the 29th District, he said, not to have a representative in Congress. The same spokesman for Patterson also said that the special election will cost much less than that $1 million. Frankly, I don't think that cost should be an issue when our country is at a very critical, to quote our president's words, transformative stage, and I don't think that anyone has the right to put off any election at this point. On to some healthcare news. I did find out somebody who really is really excited about this legislation that passed over the weekend, and that is Fidel Castro. He was just ecstatic. He said that the passage of American healthcare reform is a miracle. I didn't know he believed in miracles, and a major victory for Obama's presidency, he said. He did chide the United States leadership for taking so long to enact what communist Cuba achieved decades ago. He says healthcare reform is an important battle, and he says this is a big success for Obama's government. So we've got a great liaison, a great supporter, and a great advocate for healthcare reform in Fidel Castro of communist Cuba. The whole Stupak controversy really heated up. What a major disappointment. You had websites devoted to the guy. You know, I'm with Stupak, Stupak Supporters for Life, all these different websites that cropped up because he seemed to really believe that under no circumstance should any legislation be passed if there was even the slightest chance, that's what he said, if there is the slightest possibility that abortions will be publicly funded, he would vote no. Well, as we all know, he did change his mind. And why did he change his mind? Basically, a handshake from the president saying, Bart, I promise this will not happen. I don't know if you've heard this one, that someone did yell out as Bart Stupak made his vote and was on the floor saying that he did plan on voting yes. Someone yelled out, it's a baby killer, referring to the legislation. Of course, the news media picked up baby killer and claimed that they were calling him a baby killer. It's Republican Texas Representative Randy Neugebauer, I think that's how you say it, Neugebauer. He's the one who shouted it out. He said he was not calling Bart Stupak a baby killer. He specifically said it's a baby killer. He's gotten thousands of phone calls and emails of support thanking him for standing up for life. He's very surprised about it. He thought that you know, he would get the Joe Wilson treatment and have the media all over it and criticize him for being perhaps less than professional or less than regal as you should be on the floor. But he said he's very pleased by it. His donations have increased tremendously. He says, of course, this isn't about the money. But he has gotten a call from Joe Wilson as well, saying, hang in there, buddy. You know, I know how you feel. Joe Wilson, of course, was the one who yelled, "You lie," when the president said that the bill would not cover illegal immigrant medical care. The funny thing also about Stupak was that a very small story occurred before he voted yes, where he claimed he was getting death threats, vicious emails. He says his wife had to take their home phone off the hook because he was getting all these attacks, verbal and threats and otherwise, from the left, who were upset with him for this. There was just a tiny little news story about that, a couple of little blurbs on FoxNews.com, I think MSNBC. But now that he voted yes, and he's gotten a few hate emails, some threats supposedly, now that story is all over the place because, of course, it's coming from the right. Another congressman did stand up. I can't recall his name. It may have been Neusbauer, but I actually think it was someone from Georgia when I was watching, and said any pro-lifer who votes for this bill can no longer call themselves pro-life. Because between the community health centers and this little handshake of an executive order from the president is a joke, and anybody who's truly pro-life knows that it is a joke. So it was interesting. Did you watch any of that on Sunday, Brian O'Neill?
No, I missed that. I was working.
Oh yes, of course you were. Well, they would claim they were working as well if you call standing there and talking for, you know, hours and hours and hours on end. They call that work as well. It was fascinating. You know, you could really see the people who had backbones, and you could see the people who were just you know, going with the flow and touting the talking points. And but we shall see if we shall see in 2010 whether or not we can repeal it or not. It's been an interesting week. You're listening to the Amy McManus Show on AM 1480 WLEA.